Hey, what is up guys? It's your boy Speed here, and today we're going to be going over the do's and don'ts of 7.32. I'm going to be giving you a list of 7 builds you can go in this patch that are very strong and winning a lot of games right now. And then also I'm going to cover 5 heroes, actually 5 heroes in different roles that you absolutely should not pick at the moment. So we're going to go over 12 heroes / builds in total. So get some popcorn and let's get into it. Also, I want to tell you guys that if you've been struggling with solo queue and you're looking to get to the next rank, I'm going to be able to help you. Like literally with the gameleap website, I'm going to give you guys guides that are going to make it unbelievably clear on what you need to do. So if you've been stuck in the solo queue grind, you don't know what to do, and you want to become absolutely broken, but like actually you want to become much better at Dota, and you want to take it more seriously, the gameleap website is going to help you do that. So click the link down below. I'm going to help you get to the next rank, and I'll see you there. Alright, starting off with the do's, the first one that I'm personally really excited to try, I haven't tried it yet, but the hero's win rate is extremely good, and it receives some of the biggest buffs of the patch, and that was actually Undying. Now, Undying can also be played as a support. I'm just personally really excited to try him as a core, but he was buffed in both regards. He lost a bit of strength gain, but really the biggest thing about this hero was absolutely the change to decay. Basically, they made it way easier to get 2-man decays and hit the ability by severely improving the cast point. Basically, you cast the ability faster. It's extremely noticeable and way better, like way better. It's much harder to dodge 2-man decays now. But the biggest part about decay is that when it expires, you don't lose the HP. So a lot of you guys probably have no idea what this means. But basically in the past, when you were playing Undying, if you decayed someone, you would gain their HP for a set amount of time, right? When that expired, when the decay expired, you would flat out lose the HP. So you could be in the middle of trading with the support, and if your decay stack ran out, you would just lose your health, right? You would lose 80 strength or 80 HP for strength. And it was huge. It was a big deal. It caused Undying to constantly be low HP after trades, and it was a big issue for the hero. That has been completely removed. It is a massive freaking buff to the hero. No, they did technically also improve Soul Rip cast point. They did nerf Tombstone a little bit, but honestly guys, even though they nerfed Tombstone slightly and they decreased his strength gain, the improvements to decay are so significant they can't be understated. They also severely improve your Aghanim Scepter timing, and this is the general build I recommend if you're going offlane. In the lane, I think it's good to buy quite a bit of regen, so you can go for 2 mangoes, a gauntlet, 2 branches, tangos, and a quelling blade, something along those lines, a well-balanced build. After that, I think it's good to make sure you have plenty of mana regen and sustain, so stick is typically going to be your best item. After stick, boots or orb of venom to make sure you can chase down on the tombstone timing. However, if the lane is a little bit difficult for some reason, even though it generally shouldn't be with this decay change, as the hero is insane in lane now, you could go like Ring of Health, which you could later build into a Hood of Defiance or Lotus Orb or something along the lines. From there, you basically want to get Phase Boots and Soul Ring. These are going to be your fighting / farming items, as well as a wand and raindrops. You really want to tank up and make sure you have everything possible to enable your early timings and have mana in the early game, hence the raindrops, wand, and soul ring. And from there, you want to go your shard. If you don't know what it does, basically it lowers the cooldown of your ulti, and when you hit someone with your ulti, it spawns a zombie. Really powerful. And then an Ags into a BKB. And you could go this basically every single game. Next up, let's talk about Slark as a carry. Another hero with a very impressive win rate ever since the patch, and a couple of things were changed. He lost a bit of agility gain, but really nothing substantial, only 0.2 per level. That's only, 1 agi per 5 levels. That's not gonna kill you, really. You'll be alright. But he got 10 attack speed. 10 flat attack speed in the lane. Slark's ability to trade in the lane is way better as a result of this change. It is way better. On top of that, Pounce no longer deals direct damage, but at level 4, right, so when you max out Pounce, it gives you a stack of Essence Shift. 3 stacks of Essence Shift, actually, is what I meant to say, which is 9 agi and 9 attack speed, as well as taking away stats from the enemy. And so basically, Slark can really hit hard as the lane progresses and as the game progresses. And the big build that I really like and I think people should consider is Ags. With how much better pouncing people is now, considering you get this Essence Shift, the hero can be played around Ags. And you can just pounce. Right? The restore time of a pounce charge with Ags, right? Because what Ags does is it gives you 2 pounce charges. The restore time is 10 seconds, right? It's 10 seconds. And so every single 10 seconds, you get an extra bonus 3 agi and a pounce, right? It's extremely powerful, really, really strong change for the hero. They also changed up Shadow Dance a little bit, which makes it slightly better at level 1. Not actually better later into the game though, so it's a bit weird. But the last thing I want to note, because I don't really have too much to talk about with Slark, they kind of just straight up made him better. I wouldn't say it like necessarily changed how you should play the hero outside of the Ags, considering going in earlier Ags, is that you have to buy your shard. Just please buy your shard on this hero and you're going to do way, way better. It's really powerful Slark shard. Next up is Chen. Honestly, I'm going to keep it really simple. I don't even want to tell you too much about Chen, besides the fact that his new Ags is really cool. You can basically sacrifice one of your creeps to Hand of God a singular teammate. Very powerful, as Hand of God in the mid to late game is a stupid amount of healing. It's crazy. It's a crazy amount of healing. So basically, why is Chen good now? They buff mech. It's 100 gold cheaper. The hero was already broken. Literally, it was already one of the highest winner heroes in Dota, in pubs. I'm not even talking about pro games. I'm talking about in pubs, right? In pubs, one of the highest winner heroes. All of a sudden, they just buffed the hero. It's crazy. They literally made it a better hero, even though it was arguably one of the best heroes in the game. They slightly nerfed Penitence, but honestly, it has this really cool level 10 talent where it can bring its creep to itself way faster, 2 seconds faster, so that's pretty powerful. And then on top of that, it has this really, really cool Ags, as well as a buffed mech. Getting on from there, Omniknight position 5 is a recommendation. So what is so much better about Omniknight now? Well, there's a couple of main things. Funny enough, they actually nerfed his ulti. It's slightly worse at level 2 and level 3, but it's not really a problem. Only because that's not really the main thing that Omniknight played around. While Guardian Angel is a good ability, it's a solid ability, it's unfortunately purgeable, which is kind of a problem. But Omniknight's win rate before the patch was already good in pubs. It was straight up a good pub hero. And now, Heavenly Grace dispels both Omniknight and his target, which basically means that in teamfights, you can dispel a teammate and yourself. And that's a big deal, right? It's obviously a big deal. There's a lot of situations where there's something to dispel, whether or not you're playing against a Veno or a Quap, or your teammate's Orchided and you are affected by something else. You don't have to decide between the two now. On top of that, and it is very important in the lane as well, against heroes like Dazzle, it can really come into play. Or even something like Ogre Magi, you can literally just purge his Ignite straight up, which is pretty impressive. On top of that, they made the mana cost of Hammer of Purity way better. It's also scales better, and so the hero's kind of just more reliable now. In terms of carries, PA and Clinkz are kind of the way to go. I wouldn't say there's necessarily a new build to try on Clinkz or PA. I would say if you're just thinking about carry heroes to spam that are absolutely broken right now, or really potentially very strong, these are really good options. PA and Clinkz both got massively buffed. PA now lifesteals during the duration of her Phantom Strike, which basically gives this ability to sustain jungling, something it really struggled with in the early game otherwise. So the hero's way better in that regard. And when it's just straight up man fighting all throughout the game, right, at any point in the game, it just mans up extremely well, because it has casual 25% lifesteal when affected by the W, which is when you're primarily doing your damage altogether. On top of that, her Blur Evasion talent is at level 15, which is insane, right? Literally, you cannot hit PA, because Blur at level 4 is 50% evasion. So at level 15, it's 75% evasion. That's insane. Your hero is unbelievably survivable compared to what it used to be. Because now you have this lifesteal ability, right, in Phantom Strike, and Blur is just broken at level 15. So PA is way better now. It also helps her in the laning stage because she can use her W to sustain. Not too much, but it helps a little for sure. And it helps when she's trying to fight in the lane as well. And so in terms of the item build on PA, I honestly think going something like Corrosion Deso is pretty viable. I think if you snowball with this hero, with this new built-in lifesteal, you can fight extremely effectively. Kiting in and out of fights is really effective because you can even walk to the neutral camps, heal up, and then go back into the team fight, right? But just in general, you can be a lot more active with this addition to the hero. So you can consider going Corrosion, Wand, Treads, Deso. However, I think it's way more reliable just to stick to the standard, Battle Fury, BKB, Deso, and leave it at that. In terms of Clinkz, they basically made his Q way better, because now you can actually clear creep waves with it even when it's only level 1. So basically at level 4, if your lane's a little bit difficult, you still can, it doesn't like fully shove the wave, but it's quite effective. Like, it's quite effective. On top of that, if you happen to get an early javelin on this hero, because you shoot 6 arrows instead of 3 with your Q, your burning barrage now, you do double the damage, close to double the damage if you have a javelin, right? So this hero is also just way more deadly, even at level 4, if you decide to go the javelin rush build, right? As long as you have some sort of stun. I think a really good pairing with Clinkz right now, even though it could be really any stun, I think Clockwerk is a great one. It protects him in the early levels, and then Cogs is so much time. It's such a long disable, technically, to really enable the burning barrage. So I think there's a ton of synergy in that combo as a game combo as well, because Clock can stack, he can initiate, he does everything Clinkz doesn't do. And on top of that, the burning barrage is also better when it's maxed out, because it used to take 2.4 seconds to channel all the arrows. Now it only takes 2 seconds. And it might be like, you might be like, oh, but it's only, it's only 0.4 seconds. But that's a lot. In the late game, it's a lot. It just is, because someone might be able to get away from the last arrow. That last arrow, of course, can be the difference between whether or not you kill them, with how hard Clinkz hits in the mid to late game, or, maybe you'd get a Maelstrom proc. It's the difference, and so this hero was massively buffed on his Q. They did technically nerf the Skeleton Walk mana cost by 5, and they nerfed his level 15 talent a bit, but it just doesn't matter considering how big of a buff Burning Barrage was. And finally, the last build, this is kind of a crazy one, but it's Clockwerk Core. How do you build Clockwerk Core? Well, Blade Mail got buffed by 1 second, so if there's ever a time to go Blade Mail on Clock, now is the time. But generally, I think what you should consider doing in the lane is either going Tranquil Boots, Soul Ring. Even as a core, I think you can go the Tranquil Boots, just because they work well with Soul Ring at every point of the game and help you roam around a bit. But you kind of do want to go Phase Boots to get armor. It's just obviously more expensive and the sustain is worse. So the 2 builds I kind of recommend going are like Stick, because you need a lot of early mana. So make sure you get a ton of regen as your starting build with a Quelling Blade. Just pretty basic standard starting items. Into a Stick, into Boots, into like a Ring of Health, then into Soul Ring, because it's going to help you sustain the lane. If you're really, really dominating the lane, you could go like double Bracer into Soul Ring and just have a ton of strength, as well as the bonus regen from Bracer. And that's an interesting concept as well. But really where things get spicy is the new Clockwerk Ags, overclocking, where basically all of your abilities are better during the duration of your overclock. For 13 seconds, it's a huge duration. Basically, your Q does damage to everything in the area. So if you hit a 3-man Cogs, you're going to be doing battery assault damage to every single hero, which is huge early on into the game. On top of that, and it mini stuns all of them. Then you also get 250 attack speed while in Cogs, so you just shred people in Cogs. And then Rocket Flare has its cooldown decreased to 3 seconds, and it shoots 2 additional flares to either side of the target. So basically, if you hit a 2 or a 3-man Cogs as Clockwerk, you're just gonna flare and Q the heck out of them. And all you need is a Blade Mail to make sure that if they try to fight back, they die. So the build is like a Phase Boots, Double Bracer, Phase Boots, Soul Ring. Wand is probably good. Like, you want to buy early stat items. Remember that your Battery Assault does double damage to creeps, by the way. So if you're like, how do I farm, right? How do I scale? You can Battery Assault creep waves. Battery Assault kills a creep wave and it kills neutrals. Like, the hero has no problem snowballing in that regard. It's just straight up good. Like, it's just straight up good. And so there's so much potential with this. All right, now let's get into what you shouldn't do. Actually, I'll give an honorable mention. Apparently Tinker's good now. I thought the hero got crushed. Apparently I was dead wrong. I don't know. Apparently Tinker's winning. I have no idea though. But heroes you probably shouldn't pick. Bristleback got severely nerfed. I'd be a little bit careful about him when it comes to the safe lane. They nerfed his Ags pretty hard, which is a big part of the hero. They also nerfed some of his other talents quite hard. So essentially the hero got neutered quite a bit. Pugna is honestly relatively unplayable. I think they absolutely destroyed the hero. They're trying to make it a core by like giving it this weird ability to suck away damage and gain damage if you channel for a long time. But like, you can't channel abilities for a long time in Dota. Like, I don't know who made this idea, but it doesn't work. Like, you have to spend 4,200 golds on Pugna, a hero that doesn't get gold that easily. You have to spend 4,200 gold on an Axe and then channel for a long time. The only way you could channel for a long time on Pugna is if you have like BKB or if you have a Glimmer Cape and the enemy sucks, which like, that's unreliable, and the BKB is expensive. Like, you can't even farm it, and you need your shard for this to be particularly effective. So like, it's just an unrealistic build. It doesn't work. Don't play Pugna. It's bad. The hero's complete garbage. Death Prophet, they made this hero like a snail in the lane and nerfed the E. This hero's trash. Marcy, it got like, it's arguably the most nerfed hero of the patch, maybe the worst hero in Dota right now. It's comically bad, at least from what I've seen. The hero's comically bad. It does have some viability, but I don't know. In general, I'd say this hero is still, I want to say it's okay, but I don't know. I don't think so. I don't think it's good. I think it's bad. And finally is Venno. I know people are gonna get tempted by the shard, but I straight up don't think the shard is good. I really don't. I've tried it, I played it, so I can attest. It just is underwhelming. Like, it's so niche, and I know people are gonna try it as a support. Because they're like, oh, you have a stun now. I have a stun. I can play Venno. I can put my shard on them, and if they dispel my poison, then they get stunned for 2 seconds. It doesn't play out. It's just bad. The cast range on it is unbelievably garbanzo. Is so bad. So don't try. But all right, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.
And that's all, but remember, before you leave, come on, before you tune out, subscribe to the gameleap website where we are going to help you get to the next rank. If you're stuck, click the link down below, and I'm out. Peace.